You are listening to the Millionaire Architect Podcast with Matt Ganzak.
Welcome back to the Millionaire Architect Podcast. My name is Matt Ganzak, and I want to bring you guys some awesome stuff today. Every single day, I am dedicated. Actually, we're not dripping these out every single day. It's going to be every couple days, but every single time that you tune in, I am going to bring you value. So when you think of the Millionaire Architect Podcast, you are thinking about the most value to help build your business, build your brand, hold that accountability, and grow something awesome. And today I want to talk about being self-taught and what that means. So in the first podcast, we talked about what being self-taught was for me and where I started. It came from a place of people asking of me, like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? Then I started looking at some of the other people who are successful in my space and said, hey, how can I do that a little bit better? How can I get a little bit better at this? How can I get a little bit better at that? What I believe being self-taught is first deciding on a goal and then figuring out how to then achieve that goal. So let's speak, instead of in generality, let's speak more direct to what being self-taught means to me. So what I'll do is I'll say, all right, what I want to do, actually, one of my first ventures that I wanted to launch was called Dollar Website Club. And listen, I had an investor lined up. I had all these things all lined up. I actually ended up building and launching a platform on my own. But what I did was I said, all right, I have this vision. I have this dream. The dream is to create websites for $1, and then they can upsell from there to upgrade and improve their website. So it was a really cool concept. This was a concept I had in 2009, 2010. I built it, had it online by 2012, 13, somewhere in that timeline. And then it ended up turning into a spam network because I had no idea that people would be like, oh, I can get a website for $1. I can just, use this as a spam network. And I don't know, it was ridiculous. So no one was upgrading. Everyone was sticking around at $1. It was my first venture. And I was like, wow, I'm spending more money on servers than I am making with all these dollar websites. So I thought that people would upgrade, but come to find I needed to incentivize people to upgrade, whatever. But point being, I set a goal saying, all right, I'm going to fit into the marketplace. Here is where I'm going to fit into the marketplace. And then I backtrack from there. What sort of technology do I need to build? What sort of solutions do I need to create? What do I need to get good at? And honestly, I needed to get good at figuring out how to get people to go from $1 up from there, because I definitely couldn't figure that out. But hey, we live and we learn, right? I mean, I probably could have tweaked the platform and probably could have gotten better, but I ended up abandoning that and saying, all right, I have a new vision, and I went forward from there. But going back, in order to get that first success or failure, which I believe that failures are success, because you can't have a success without having failures. And the more you fail, the more you're going to succeed later in life. And I'll tell you a quick story real quick. So when I was working in 2008, and then I'll get back to speaking about being self-taught. When I was working in 2008 and on from there for this gentleman who ended up passing away, one of my great mentors, and he ended up teaching me something. He's like, Matt, about 6 months into working with him, he brought me into his office, and it was a high-rise in Midtown Manhattan. And he brings me into his office, and he's sitting there, and he's got his 25-year scotch in front of him, and he's sitting there sipping on it and talking at me. And I'm like, okay, I'm very, very intimidated right now, but very, very scared. He's got like the window open. He's like smoking cigarettes in his office and whatnot. Total, insane guy, right? So, totally Mad Men, right? That was that show, right? Mad Men? I don't really watch TV, but totally just reminded me of that. But from that standpoint, he's sitting there and he's like, Matt, I want to talk to you about not your successes, but I want to talk to you about your failures. And I was like, all right, I haven't had any failures. He said, exactly. That's what I want to talk about. I'm going to fire you. And I was like, why are you going to fire me? He's like, well, I mean, I can throw you out the window. I can either throw you out the window or I can fire you. One of the two. Keep in mind, this is like a, 250 pound, like giant dude. And I'm like totally intimidated. And I'm like, Okay, like difficult, gulp. Okay, why are you going to fire me for being successful? He's like, anyone that comes forward and is successful with every single thing that they do, that means that they're not taking risks. If they're not taking risks, that means that you're playing it safe with my money and with my business. If you're playing it safe with my money and my business, that means that you're not going to expand my business to the point where I'm going to be able to buy another Rolls Royce and do, what I do. I'm like sitting there looking at him. I'm like, none of this makes sense right now. I'm so used to living inside this broke box. And he broke me out of that broke box at that moment in time when he said, I need you to fail. I need you to take my money. There's $20,000 for this project. Go out and advertise and go fail. And you know what? I lost all of that money. I lost all of it. I came back. I was like, I'm so sorry. I lost the money. I did not achieve the goal that we set forward. He's like, that's what I wanted to see from you. I wanted to see you fail. Now from here, you can learn from those mistakes. Let's talk about the mistakes. We talked about them. We broke through and I was able to go forward. And I live my life by that now is if you're spending your entire life succeeding at everything you do and you're not failing at anything, that means that you're not learning, you're not taking big enough risks, and you're not trying hard enough. And when I learned that and when I started breaking out to take bigger risks and do things on a bigger scale and think bigger and grow everything beyond that tiny, tiny box that I lived in, that's when I started creating multi-millions for him, for my clients, and for myself and everyone going forward. Because as you're living in this small box and you're not thinking beyond that box, you're just thinking like, okay, I got to pay my bills. I got my water bill coming up. That's, $57, usually about $57. I think we ran the dishwasher this month, so I think it might end up being $58. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to afford this now. I'm going to have to take money out of my dollar pizza fund, right? Like that was my mindset when I moved there. It was like so scarce. My life was scarce. Now living outside of that, just from that one thing he taught me was you have to learn to fail. So going back, I do believe that Dollar Website Club was my success that I am today because I learned how to fail. I learned the pitfalls that I was going to face. So when it became real and I put real money up, because listen, it only cost me like $60,000 to build Dollar Website Club with all things considered. That was really nothing in the big, grander scheme of the world and so forth. So I took that $60,000 loss and started teaching myself, all right, here's how you do things better. Here's how you hire better. Here's how you spend money better to build things. Here's how you do this better. Here's how you do that better. And I started learning all these things, which is what's created my credits, which is what's created Press Demand. It's what's created all these ventures that I've worked on and now built Spectre and all these companies that we've built up from the ground up. It's all about failing forward and creating that failure and then learning from it and then being able to not make that mistake again and capitalize going forward. So that said, when I looked at my credits, I was able to look forward and say, all right, I can see the next 2 years of this, and I can start planning out exactly what the pitfalls will be, where the investment of capital needs to go, and who we need to hire and who we need to, stay away from and so forth. So we started building this thing and we started building it agile and we started, sprinting and moving forward and, testing one thing at a time instead of building the whole enchilada. We just started building this single thing. Like, all right, let's first prove that we can get credits. We can exchange Stripe, revenue for credits and then record that for our customers. So we proved that one thing. What's the next thing we need to prove? We need to prove that by watching videos that will turn into credits and we can build an extension and build an application and, do all these things in JavaScript. So we need to prove that. So we work on that. That's our next task, right? So we take this thing in task. We take, bite-sized chunks off, and then we start saying, all right, here's what we need to do in order to do this. Here's what we need to do in order to do that. So then we build this thing to go forward, and every single step is completely self-taught. Because what I did was I took each objective, and then I go on and purchase whatever course I needed to buy. I spent about $30,000, $40,000 per year on courses and different materials and so forth, and software and learning and everything that I can to digest that one goal. See, if I came forward and I bought a course that was like how to create a, multi-million-dollar software company, like that might not be the best course for me. What I did was I started biting off how to program this one thing, how to program this thing, how to do these graphics the best way, how to hire the best, how to outsource, how to project manage, how to more effectively do this. I took each individual step of the line item and said, how do I do this better in order to achieve my goals going forward? So I believe that being self-taught is not saying, how do I build a 7-figure software company or an 8-figure or 9-figure or 10-figure software company. I took it as, how do I become a better project manager? How do I manage my staff better? What's the best project management software? We use Trello and Slack, by the way. What is the best way to build? What is the best technology to build on? We're on Ruby on Rails. I took each step of the way and tried to digest each individual step. Paying for a lot of mentors, paying for individual people just to answer single questions for me. Once I got those questions put together, once I established a manifesto or whatever you want to call it, once I established this game plan, we then went forward to start building this thing and go forward. So I spent probably about 6 months to a year focusing on one part of the technology, and that was the planning and the development of this product line that was going to be rolling out. The next step was to hire the right people. So I had this entire thing planned out on how to test. And it was all about testing people. How do you test to figure out if they're going to be able to achieve what it is that you're trying to accomplish? How are you able to give them small incremental tests? And then how are you able to small incrementally project manage them to take it to the point that you actually have something online? So that is being self-taught to me. So for you, if you were to say, I want to build a graphic design company, but I want to just build a graphic design company that manages 300 clients, 500 clients, 1,000 clients, and I want to be able to do that with just 10 staff members, right? Or whatever your goal is. You have to work backwards. Okay, get one client. How much time does it take? How can you then create processes inside of your graphic design company to get that client work down to the fewest amount of hours physically possible so that one person could potentially manage multiple clients? Next question, how many clients can that one person manage? Next question, what happens if there's a change order? Next question, how can you multitask between multiple projects? Next question, you have to decide each and every piece of that puzzle and solve that puzzle in learning and becoming self-taught. Now, how can you hire people and maybe train them in your processes? And is it a better benefit maybe to find people that have not done something like that before, and maybe people that are fresh and just looking to learn and looking to, learn inside of your program? It's another thing that I've found is that a lot of times when I end up working with people who don't have a big ego or don't have a big oh, I've done this and this and this, and I've accomplished this and this and this. Well, why are you looking to work with me? Well, you're just a stepping stone on my block on the way to conquer the world. I'm like, fantastic, you're not the right fit. So I look for people that get sold on the mission statement, on the end goal, on the vision. And we now hire people that come through our academy. That's where I am hiring people because they're sold on the mission. They're sold on the content. They're sold on the platform. And they decide, all right, I went through it. I love your business so much, Matt, that I want to come and work for you. I don't want to continue, frustrated chasing down clients. I don't want to continue to be frustrated and, trying to grow my business. I believe in your products. I believe in your business. I believe in your mission statement. So actually, I believe more to hire from inside your network, inside that thing, and then teach them the things that they need to know. So I got really good at teaching and creating teachable type content that I can teach you how to grow. And then we're able to then build an organization. And then now our managers are now teaching people underneath. So I have multiple lines of training that goes on, and it all really originates from that self-taught mindset where I started from the beginning. And my mindset is, I believe that anyone can accomplish anything that they set their mind to and they're willing to work for. I'm going to say that again because it's really, really important. I have a strong belief that anyone can accomplish anything that they are willing to take the time, study, earn the knowledge, and work for. I don't spend a lot of time watching TV. I don't spend a lot of time on Netflix. I don't spend a lot of time doing things. Every single thing that I'm doing is towards my end goal. Part of my end goal, I'll tell you right now, I want to create a video game. I've done some pretty amazing things in this world, and one of the things that I've always wanted to do is create a video game. So it's something that I am actually working on. So every single thing that I do is forwarding myself towards that end goal. Every single thing that I do is forwarding myself through health and wellness. And, we created this supplement product line with a couple other entrepreneurs and, hooked up with the doctor. And then we did the IV wellness. And then we hooked up with another entrepreneur and did that brand. We want to forward health, wellness, and that's a big part of this. And I don't want to get too much into wellness, but it is a big part of my day is being totally optimized. Because let me tell you something. When I was back in 2006, when I started my agency, I was taking a nap sometime around 3, 4 o'clock. I was tired. I was lethargic. I didn't get a lot done between 6 and 10 o'clock at night. I was tired. I was completely burnt out. And what I ended up finding was it's what I was eating during the day. It was the supplements that I was taking. It was the energy that I was allowing my body to create this natural energy. And now I can go just on water and just let my body just create this energy and create this natural energy. And it's really coming from a place to understanding my body, understanding how my gut absorbs food, how my gut absorbs the supplements that I take, and how my brain reacts to some of the products that I take and so forth. So another thing is, the way that I look as well. I'm 35 years old while recording this right now. And if you're listening to this in the future, it is what it is. But I'm 35 years old right now. And literally I get carded when I go out and have a couple of drinks from time to time. Literally, I think I've drank 4 times this year, total. But, if I go out and order a drink, I get carded because people they're like, oh, you can't be 21. Yeah, I'm actually 35. And they have to look at my ID and whatnot because I take good care of myself. And it all starts inside of my gut. It all starts in the way that I take supplements every single day. And what I started learning in 2008, 2009 is that I can work and I can build my dreams because there's plenty of time in the morning before going into the office. So I started getting up at 5 a.m. I was doing a workout. I'd go for a run in Central Park. And then I would do some work in the morning before I had to be at my office at 9 a.m. I would outsource to people, have them do work while I was at work. So I was double timing. Not while I was at work, by the way, because I don't cheat people. Everything I do is with integrity. So what I did was while I was at work, I was focused on work, right? But in the morning, I got my outsourced help to do my client work. And then when I came home, I checked the client work. It was the end of their work day. And then I could say, yes, no, here's what you need to work on tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. And then I would personally get to work on growing the business and growing our plan, creating video content and so forth. So a lot of the early on video content was from my apartment in New York City and Upper East Side apartment. And I created a lot of video content there as I was just getting started and just starting to feel this thing out. And that's where I ended up building my Twitter, building the beginnings of my Instagram and my YouTube following. And, the things that I started doing and ranking in search engines and blogging and all the things that I started doing were after hours. And everything that I built between 2008 and 2012, 13, where I started working full-time for myself, was completely self-taught. Every single thing. I would spend time watching videos. I would spend time going through other people's content. And you know what? Now I actually work with a lot of those people that I was actually learning from back then, which is really cool. So yeah, you can go through, learn from the people, learn from other people that have been massively successful, become self-taught, and then you might get to the point that you start working with me or start working with, other people that you've always looked up to. So become self-taught, learn from other people, and just become a sponge. Just suck it up. Just suck up all this knowledge and apply it, but apply it to your project. That's the biggest problem that I see in people that are going out and trying to learn new things is that they focus too much on, being self-taught, but trying to consume everything. Don't consume everything. Set your path, set your goal, and begin to work towards that. So the one thing that I can tell you is I really want you guys to focus on those pieces. I really want you to focus on becoming self-taught. I really want you to focus on learning those things and being able to go forward. And I want you guys to have an awesome day, and I want you guys to get after it today. So be awesome. Have a great day. Get after it. Learn something new today and apply it to your business. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Architect Podcast, brought to you by My Credits.
You are listening to the Millionaire Architect Podcast with Matt Ganzak, brought to you by My Credits. My Credits. Reward your loyal customers for watching your videos and engaging with your business. Your customers will love you for it.